it strangely enough doesn't matter how many hours you put in, doesn't matter how much work you do. It's not about who you know, it's not about your background, it's not about it's not about any of that. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Modern Day Trader. Thank you all for tuning in to the introductory playlist, first two videos. We appreciate the support. Thank you for those who've subscribed. If you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to do so. If you're taking away any value at all from this channel. And as always, don't forget to comment. We analyze pairs. If there's a pair you want us to break down for you, drop it in the comments and we're happy to do so. You also know there's a Q&A section of this at the end. So yeah, any questions you guys are struggling with, drop that in the comments and we'd be happy to help. Without any further ado, I think that's what they say. My G, how you doing? You well?
Nah, I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing well. Like, considering the week, I think mentally I'm in a good place now that the week's over. Trading's done.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. Like, I need to like just get out of trading. I needed to just get away from the charts for a bit. It's been a tough week, but other than that, mentally I'm in a good place. I think I've been like following through on every other goal that I have. And today I'm gonna go work too, so that's gonna take my mind a bit more off trading, putting it into like putting my energy into a different space. But overall, I'm good considering my week, and we'll jump into it a bit. But how are you doing, Sam? How's this week been? How's everything been, bro?
All right. For me, the week was quite a slow week, both work-wise as well as in the markets. Only one position taken for me. And you can see it was just a UST ZAR long. I think my screen's showing up now. USD ZAR long. This was actually on Friday, very late in the day. This was my entry out of a 4-hour POI, 15-minute entry. That's my minimum entry or execution time frame on my micro time frames. Strong break of structure, impulsive mitigation. This didn't actually fully stop me out. I think it might have, but I just have a rule in my plan where 9 o'clock on a Friday, because of obviously the challenge rules, I have to close all positions. So this one was manually closed, and yeah, it was about a 0.17 loss. So coming to my account metrics, as you guys can see, same 10K challenge that I've been showing week in, week out. This is the one trade that I took yesterday, 0.25% risk. You can see just shy of that in terms of what was closed out. Current equity sitting at about $9,700 from a starting balance of $10,000. I'm down about 2.9%, so we say roughly 3% down. Not from a result perspective, not the greatest week. But yeah, Sanders has hands. That's what I'll say. But yeah, slow week for me nonetheless. But I think busy a week on your end. We spoke briefly, I think, just before the call. But yeah, I think, how is it just in a bit more depth for you, bro?
Mentally challenging. Obviously, you go into the week always thinking it's going to be a good week, and you kind of just like you realize that things are looking up on a Monday. You're back in the markets. You kind of forget about, like, not that you forget about the mistakes that you made in the previous week or like the losses that you took, but you just focus on the new week and the new opportunities ahead, and you focus on taking trades according to the plan. And that was the energy that I came into the week with. And I understood that probabilities are going to play out, bro. Like, you're going to take a trade, it's going to play out. Take a trade, you're going to play out. Like, with a win, lose, break even, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And that's the mindset that I went into the week with. And I think from my perspective, I've taken every trade. Let me just give you guys a disclaimer. I've taken every trade according to the plan. I've taken every precaution that I could. I think the only thing that I could have done slightly differently was that Maybe I shouldn't have traded immediately after news. Maybe I should have let the 4H close. These are all the questions that I was asking myself yesterday when I went to went to one of my mates' houses, and we sat there and we smoked, and I was chatting and I was just offloading. I was saying like, maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that. Like my plan doesn't take into account all of these like different aspects of, do we wait for 4H to close when there's news? Do we just wait for the 15-minute to close when there's news? And I think it's gaining and collecting more data on my trading strategy. But ultimately, all in all, when it comes to trading, this week was ass. I think it's the worst week that I had for like the past year and a half. Like Sam, I think it was one of the worst weeks that I've had in a minute, bro. Like every trade that I've taken, even the winners that's supposed to be winners ended up being losers. And I honestly just could not fathom. Like I could not fathom. It's because I remember Monday came. So let me show you guys let me share my screen and show you guys my screen. This is my journal. So I've taken 30 trades so far. The good thing is I'm only halfway through my next 20 trade set. And that gives me a bit of confidence that this 20 trade set can still change and become positive. However, the first part of this 20 set has just been horrific. And there's words that I would use that I don't necessarily want to use on YouTube, but it's been tough. So looking at this week, you can see that we basically ended last week being break even. And this week we've taken 7 trades and all of them were losers. And I think Monday you get to the markets and you take a trade and you're just telling yourself, hey, everything is numbers. And I've took a trade, everything plays out, it's perfect, like, okay, it's just a L. It's just a L. And that's all I'm telling myself. This is simply just a normal L in the market, and there's nothing I can do about it. Tuesday come, I take a trade, and let me show you guys. So this was Monday the 12th. We take a trade. Now, this trade that I'm taking here has a very high probability of it playing out. Moves in my direction. I'm initially anticipating that price action is going to continue. Turns around, and I think there's a lot of things that I could have done better in this specific trade, making my stop loss a bit smaller, anticipating that price is going to continue, and therefore the higher or the lower high in the markets are going to hold, and therefore this would have been a winner. However, I took the trade the way I took it because of the reasons that all the other trades, when I take it like this and I place my stop loss above a previous lower high, it usually plays out. Price action moves in my direction, it goes against me. And I think that's just the theme of this week. And I don't think there was too much that I could have done. There's nothing that I have in my control that I can do other than having the things that I have in place leading up to a trade. And I think this trade right here is what cemented everything in stone, Sam. This one right here is the one that just told me like this week is just, yeah, it's unexplainable. I remember I took the trade, I sat in drawdown for quite a bit, and I'm watching the trade and I can see it on MT5. It's moving it's moving against me. Then I noticed that it's moving in my direction, and I'm anticipating that once this 15-minute close, that we're going to get a push to the downside, enough to push me to break even. That's my anticipation. I get a message on Teams because I'm at work at this point. I get a message on Teams, can you come to my office? It's my manager. My luck this week just, there's no words to explain it. I leave my phone at my desk, go to my manager's office, I come back. This wick right here that triggered my break-even alert, I swear to God, it was a 1-minute candle that pushed to the downside. And next thing I know, I come back to my laptop, the alert went off and price is in my stop loss range. And I'm like, damn, bro. Like, what? I can't even get a break even, mate. I cannot get a break. Like, what's going on, bro? Like, I was just, honestly, like, I was saying, what do I have to do to get a break this week? Like, at the end of this week, Sam, like, there's very little things in life that challenges my mental fortitude. And at the end of this week, I was asking myself, like, is there something that I'm seeing wrong in the markets? Like, is there something in my strategy? But obviously at this point, I didn't put my numbers into my journal. I don't know how much trades I'm on. I was thinking I'm on like 35 or something. It's mad how like when you take losses, it just seems like you're taking more trades. That time I've taken 2 trades a day. I think there was one day where I took 1 trade, and I think it was this day where I took 1 trade. And as even the fact that we spoke on Wednesday or Wednesday, and I was like, Sam, I'm catching L's, but I don't see the market ranging, so I can't necessarily not trade. You know what I mean? I have to trade because the market is it's moving in a trend. Like, I'm just gonna let the numbers play out. And even when the numbers supposed to play out, I'm catching an L. And I don't know, like it had me questioning yesterday, like, bro, like, Marcy, is this thing like, as not is it for you, but like, is your strategy really working? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, are you telling me that like the market, you just, are you not just understanding the markets at this point? Is it market conditions that you need to stay out of? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, mentally, I was all over the place yesterday, but then I also like grounded myself in the fact that I don't necessarily know the numbers. I haven't saved the numbers. I haven't done anything when it comes to journaling. I haven't done my ASR. I haven't done anything. And when I checked the numbers this morning, it's kind of relaxing knowing that I'm only halfway through, because I know that in the previous set, when I was halfway through, I was just down at like 5%. Now I understand this time around I'm down at 7%. If we just go back to sharing the screen and go into the journal, now I understand that I'm down 7%, but in the previous 20 trades, I was down 5%, and thereafter I went on a 6-7 trade win streak, and that was heavenly. It brought me back up to being profitable over the 20 trades, and that's what's kind of keeping me level-headed in this instance. Like, just knowing that you don't judge your trading plan mid sample size. All you need to do is just stick to what you know and see how it performs over the 20 trades, because I don't know what the next 10 trades are going to do. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the dashboard. So this is the 10K account, guys. I'm showing you guys this first because this is the good account. I'm not going to lie. Full disclaimer, this is the good account. We're down 7%, and it just is what it is. Like, I think commissions on this thing is chowing. I don't understand. Commissions on both of these accounts are quite high. Like, they are full 2%, 2.5%, which is mad, considering the fact that obviously 2% of this was lost at 1%, and then the others were all lost at 0.5%. So yeah, and then you add the commissions, and we're sitting at minus 7%. This right here is minus 9%. Shit, bro. I got one more trade left on this account, Sam, if I'm looking at it. Like, this is the first time I'm seeing this, guys. Like, but back's against the wall. My back has always been against the wall, and I always come out winning. So I feel like I have confidence. As I mentioned, on this account specifically, I think I have a 2.5%, 2.75% commission on this account, Sam. Imagine, like, so I only lost really like 5%, and then the rest, or I'd say 7%, the rest of it is all commissions. I think $140 is commissions of this, so nearly 3% of it is commission. So yeah, like, I don't understand how the commissions are that high, considering like I don't take hella high ass lot sizes, you know what I mean? So yeah, guys, that's my review. I think from my perspective, what I've landed on is the fact that you don't make that like irrational decisions mid trading sample size. You just take the trade as it comes, and you let it play out, and from there you make a decision once you get to the end of the sample size. Now, if the sample size is ass, I need to reevaluate something. At the end of the day, I feel like I need to reevaluate something right now, but it might be bad market conditions for my trading plan. I don't know as yet, and I'm not going to make that judgment right now. I'm trying to stay disciplined to the point where my trading plan says after 20 trades, that's when you make adjustments.
Yeah.
And if I can keep that in place and I can hold my discipline, at least I can lean on the fact that I have discipline and the fact that I know that without a shadow of a doubt, that even if I was to make some changes to my trading plan with the way I trade, I know I have my discipline to lean on as a trader, because I feel like that is a major aspect in trading. So that's my week, guys. Ultimately, I'm down 9% and I'm down 7%. Shit, mate. And this week was a minus 7%.
So,
Bro.
But I think you're sticking to the process, bro. And that's probably the hardest thing. Arguably, market conditions aren't great at this moment. I think from a high time frame perspective, there's a lot of the pairs that are at key levels. And that's where a lot of fuckery, for lack of a better word, starts coming in with manipulations, liquidity grabs, runs into liquidity pools and things like that. Like you're saying, bro, you stick to the process, you get to the end of the 20 set sample size and you reevaluate, you go deeper into the plan. The first plan you start with is not going to be the same as the fifth plan you start with, because the experience between the first and the fifth, there's so many more factors that you're now taking into consideration. And I think that's just a part of it. But the fifth plan may not be the same as the 20th, but there's still things that you're learning. And I think it's, still just part of the journey. And it's not all great. And I think that's like part of this and like part of what we're doing. Like that was a very transparent, review of the week. And it would have been easy to just like be like, hey, Samuel, bro, I'm going to tell these folks I lost twice in the week. I'm going to make us look good. To say it's something. But like, I think it's just, it is what it is. And that you'll go through those phases, and it's just required you to just kind of look at it deeper. And like you're saying, when you're going to stick to the plan, but there's certain things you want to look at the end of the set. So shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. But yeah, I think we're going to jump into the forecasting for the week. I think I'm almost like interested to see, and I was thinking as you were speaking, is what we analyzed last week, did we almost act in alignment with that analysis? Did we deviate from what the plan was last week? Because that's something, as we do these videos like week on week, that I'm trying to get more notes of, because I knew that a pair, and that actually came down to my USD short blast, where I was like, I knew the pair was kind of high time frame neutral, like messy, not a nice pair, like you said it, week on week. But even though my entry met the plan, like the criteria, it was still a bit of an aggressive entry. I could have waited more caution. But last week I said high time frame is messy, like this thing's it's neutral.
Yeah.
But low time frame structure gave me an opportunity. So there's certain things like that. But yeah, let's jump into the analysis, bro. Jumping into the analysis, I'm going to start. Marcy's currently having technical difficulties. So I think it'll be only my charts this week, guys. But yeah, we've gone through the charts. Biases are fairly similar. So yeah, let's dive in. Just firstly, before I get into dollar index, just touching on what I was saying in the weekly review, I'm really trying to get on or start paying more attention, especially during the week, as to how the trades I'm executing align with the higher time frame bias. And I've just flagged the pairs here. Dollar index don't really trade, but bullish on dollar index, bullish on pound JPY, bearish on Euro USD, neutral on USD ZAR, and then bullish on US 30. And for the most part, what I'm seeing on the low time frame aligns with these biases that I've just mentioned now. But there are a few discrepancies, I think more so USD ZAR, US 30. So I think I'm just trying to pay more attention to what's my high time frame bias, and and week on week, how often am I trading in alignment with that on the lower time frames. Where, what the output of that observation is going to be, I'm not 100% sure yet. But yeah, I think it's just something interesting that I'm starting to pay attention to. But also just to maybe take note of when maybe I'm not trading in alignment with the high time frame buys. Maybe when I'm focusing on moves that are a bit too short term, that's going to give me good perspective. So yeah, let's see how that goes over the weeks. But yeah, getting right into dollar index, starting on the weekly. We've had the second week now where we've almost closed with this doji type candlestick, which is indicating a bit of bearish pressure at this point. But as I drop down into the daily, for me, the daily is still trading higher. We had the solid close above this daily high value area here with this push here that almost cemented the uptrend, and then established new structure, dropping down into the 4 hour. You guys can see we formed new 4 hour structure, good momentum to the upside, corrected nicely back into the POI, and that's where we closed for the week. So hence my bias is still bullish for this. I see what the weekly is doing. I'm taking note of it. But for me, it's just more of, I'd say a warning signal, or just for me to flag the fact that we could potentially start trading lower from this area. But I'll need that confirmation to filter through into the lower time frames before I flip that bias. So for now, still bullish, looking for price to push higher from this point. And that just almost informs my biases on dollar pairs, dollar cross pairs, in terms of how I should anticipate the dollar trading in the coming week. Pound JPY, starting on the daily is fine, weekly nothing exciting. Last week I was a bit neutral on this pair. It looked like it was starting to form or enter more into a corrective phase. But yeah, momentum came in. This was the daily high value area. Price struggled there. It looked like we were getting the double top to potentially move lower. But we had the solid push above. And I think with that, establishing this new high value area here, having broken above that point, as well as then dropping down into the 4 hour, the new structure that formed here. The structure was mitigated. Price started to push higher. I didn't take any setups on this. Nothing formed as per my plan. But I think structurally this pair is playing out quite nicely. Dropping down into the lower time frames. What I do like is that, within this corrective move down to mitigate the POI, we obviously did form some structure, and we've now, with good momentum as well, closed firmly above this 2 hour protected high. So I think, this pair is definitely ready to start trading a bit higher. We pushed up quite aggressively from the POI and never really mitigated any orders here in this area after the breakout, and that's where I was looking for initial entries on this pair within this region here. So there's a part of me now post this 2 hour break to the upside that is potentially anticipating a bit more of a correction into this area again before we push higher. But I'll need to see the lower time frame starting to shift to the downside. But until then, to be honest, we don't have to do that. We've mitigated the POI. That's all I really look for. And then obviously price trading up to equal highs or equal lows if, this was a bearish setup. So on the 30-minute time frame, we formed good structure here. I'm looking for the mitigation of this POI, entry confirmation, and then price to push to the upside. So yes, bullish on pound JPY. Then coming into Euro USD, practically the inverse of dollar index. But yeah, on Euro USD, it's just looking a bit more convincing on the weekly in terms of really rejecting out of this area. Again, second week where we've got doji type candlesticks or wicks, but coming onto the daily, momentum is still to the downside. We were looking for that push lower in last week's analysis, and we did get that fairly early in the week. I think it was Tuesday. So we established that new bearish structure to the downside. It still held. And then I think for majority of the week or for majority of the rest of the week, we just started to trade higher, mitigated that POI. And now I'm looking for those lower time frame shifts out of this 4 hour POI to then drop down to the micro time frames and look for an entry. So yeah, I think this is still playing out as per uh, I guess the bearish sort of bias that we have. Um, I think this does potentially have just one more push lower. Price is starting to look a bit more corrective. If we do get that, potentially reverse to the upside. But yeah, until we do that, it's all hypothetical. So I'll follow the structure and just continue to trade this lower until I start seeing real structural shifts on both the low time frame and these 4 hour high time frames. But yeah, until then, bearish on EURUSD. Am liking the way this is shaped up. So yeah, I'm looking for shorts early in the week because we are on the POI. This is where I tend to try increase the focus because I've waited for the push lower, waited for the correction, and now we're just waiting for that entry criteria to be met. So looking to take that lower. USDs high time frame. We had always said this was messy, and I think this kind of touches on what I was saying in the weekly review, where we've really been trading within these ranges here. You can see since October last year, price has been flat, not going anywhere. It's really range bound, very corrective in nature, as opposed to this kind of price action here. Again, that price action, this price action there, which is more high momentum, clear direction. This is, very low momentum, sideways sort of movement. So not that there's no opportunities, because like I said, the trade that I took met the plan, but I think what I'll be almost taking note of, and again, maybe this is another observation from the way I'm starting to take note of the high time frame biases. When the conditions aren't ideal from a high time frame perspective, I'm pretty certain that there's no clear trend here. We range bound, we sideways. Price is very corrective in nature, but dropping down into the 4 hour, there is structure here. There's structure that I can plot. There's a story that a picture you can paint, a story that you can make up when you look at price. This on the daily came from this point. It looks like we're almost coming back up to that point for the double top. I think this near miss here is not a coincidence. I think there were a lot of traders looking for price to reach this double top level to short. And we've just fallen short of that, potentially getting people trapped into premature shorts, where we really just corrected very slowly lower. There's no definitive sort of direction or movement in any of this price action from this high, which tells me that we still trading higher, and that, to be honest, could be part of some sort of ending pattern like that to the downside. Or I want to zoom out a bit more into where this started way back then, something like that. I think just because of my background in trading patterns, even though I don't use patterns for any of my entry models, it's rare that I don't see them when I'm doing my analysis. So I think they'll always play a part in shaping my bias when I do approach a pair, but I don't really look for anything in the entry from a pattern perspective. But I think especially when doing more high time frame analysis, that pattern theory does come into play. But like I'm saying, you can paint a picture, you can build a story. There's definitely a bullish bias that I'm seeing here, and I'm seeing it play out of this area where we are at the moment. But given that the high time frame is very messy, neutral, corrective, I think more so at the end of this 20 trade sample size, I'll monitor from now to then how these types of trades play out. How often do they play out? Do I need to add an extra layer of confirmation in the form of, looking for first a lower time frame shift and then an entry out of that lower time frame POI? Because while this is a 4-hour POI, I do drop down into the 15-minute and I can take a trade out of this 15-minute, like I did for the USD ZAR trade this week. But that's a very aggressive entry for a pair that's very corrective and indecisive. So yeah, bullish on this, looking for longs. I think I want price to show me clearly what direction it's headed in. I'll be probably looking for, if we do decide to just trade higher from here, a break of this area here, and then correction back into the newly formed POI, and then literally the exact same thing on those micro time frames to then trade higher. So yeah, a bit deeper on USD ZAR, even though it's really not one of the better looking pairs. But yeah, I think just so you guys sort of understand my thought process, going forward and post the loss I took. And yeah, last but not least, US 30. This on the high time frame, bullish. You can see there's a clear push to the upside. Price has started to become a bit more corrective in the area that we're at now. And so dropping down into the 4-hour, not surprised that we saw a very impulsive shift to the downside and a change of structure. So currently short-term bearish on this index. I think intuitively, I knew it was going to start losing steam at some point because that bullish run, while from a longer term perspective, we always anticipate, top 30 listed stocks to appreciate over time. I think from a momentum perspective, prices do eventually mean revert, or, that momentum does eventually fade. Things become overbought, oversold, however you want to describe it. So this is shifted on the 4-hour. I'll be looking, because we are still at the top of the structure. I'll be looking for clear 1-hour shift out of this POI, and it looks like we're kind of getting it here. Basically, a shift of that area to the downside. That area is going to become my new POI, and then for the corrective push back there, and then entry schematic, you guys know, and then push to the downside, targeting that as a sort of TP1, TP2. No, that's actually final TP, sorry. So yeah, TP1 will kind of just be these equal lows. And then, 4-hour equal lows is where I'll look to get out of the position. Because beyond there, I'm not sure what the structure will do. But yeah, I think just to sum it up again, I explained at the beginning what my high time frame biases were, but now just obviously with that in mind, you guys know what the flags represent. This is almost a wrap up of how I'll be looking to trade these pairs and this indice in the week. So it's pound JPY long in alignment with high time frame. Euro USD short in alignment with that high time frame. USD ZAR long, bit of discretion used there because high time frame is neutral corrective, but with a bit of discretion, there's bullish structure, and I'm looking to take that higher. And then US 30, it's clearly bullish on the high time frame, but looking to take the short because I do see a correction playing out. So yeah, that's also discretion used out of alignment with that high time frame. But the fact that this is a 4-hour structure, more than happy to risk capital on that. And yeah, that brings us to the end of the chart session. Again, if there's any pairs that you guys would like us to break down, drop them in the comments below. And yeah, we'd be more than happy to add those just to sort of like requested pairs watch list. and we'll be heading into the Q&A session next.
So we're just getting out of the analysis and continuing our week-to-week Q&A session. Sam, so to me, there's a big thing that obviously happens in South Africa with trading being spoken about and trading being looked at as like quick money, and just the way people look at trading as a career or a space in general, specifically forex trading and indices trading. So the question today is, or what I want you to speak to, is the importance of patience and long-term thinking in trading, and not just the patience in taking a trade or waiting for a trade, but patience in understanding how long it takes to become a profitable trader, patience in understanding how long it takes to actually find a strategy and a mentor and all of those. So yeah, speak to that, Sam. And I'm looking forward. I'm quite curious on what you have to think, especially with the space in South Africa and the way trading is looked at, bro. So what do you think?
Very interesting question, bro. And I think one that every trader has kind of struggled with because of the idea that trading is this sort of get rich quick scheme, or like a gambling in a sense. But I think just kind of thinking about as a society or as individuals and how we develop, convenience is like king in the space. We live in a world where like information is like so readily available, or services are so readily available. You don't have to wait a week to watch the new episode of something. Like you can binge that like 12 in one sitting, like 12 episodes if you want. You don't have to, drive to the mall or to a center to get your favorite like takeout. Like whip out your phone, order that thing, and you can carry on watching your episodes while it comes to you. There's so many ways to make money online with the internet. I think Web2, brought a whole bunch of like these internet millionaires, and like it was like you can definitely make money very quickly on the internet. And I think trading has been misconstrued as being part of those, but I think just like with that greater like perspective of like us as a people and the kind of the society we live in, like we're very impatient naturally. We want things to happen now. We want to see results now. Even when we start a business, I think the boom of venture capital has allowed you to monetize your idea very quickly. So I think there's a similar approach when you get to trading. And I think mainly because of the way trading's marketed, that it's something that you can just pay for like a minimum amount for 500,000, get into a signals channel, and like in 2 months you're buying an RS3 or like or M4 or something. But that's because obviously people are looking for traffic to sell their courses and things like that. But it's just a completely different game. I think trading's one of the professions where it, strangely enough, doesn't matter how many hours you put in, doesn't matter how much work you do. It's not about who you know. It's not about your background. It's not about any of that. None of that almost has a direct influence on your results. And that understanding that and getting to a point where you do understand that, because it's not something you understand at face value when you get into the space, takes a lot of time. And it takes you grappling with, certain strategies or multiple strategies. It takes you jumping from mentorship to mentorship. It takes you sort of just getting really stuck in with it, which can take a while to understand that. And if you're not patient, if you're impatient, and you don't exercise patience consistently, I think with yourself, with your results, with the strategy that you're almost trading at the moment, then it becomes difficult for you to understand that. And even when I think you're on a path where you found a strategy and it's working for you, it's profitable, in parts, I think like yourself, Marcy, you still go through periods or different types of market cycles or different types of market environments that test that patience, because you have to dive deeper. And like you said, like this week wasn't a great week, like supposed to do, but still, like it didn't. The results didn't pan out the way you did, and it's different to a normal. I wouldn't say a normal business because businesses aren't generic, but a different type of business, a services business where your input generally equals your output, or your output is asymmetrically proportional to your input. Trading is very different in that case. So I think from and maybe just try to answer the question, because it actually is a difficult question. I think I'm struggling with it. From a strategy perspective, it takes a lot of experience to sort of get over that hurdle, and experience it's literally the numbers, both that journal of trades that give you or broaden your perspective on, I guess, yourself, how you trade things. That takes a while, and in that process, in the whole time while you're trying to figure that out, your results won't necessarily be great. So again, it takes patience for you to be able to see almost your results or your equity curve on maybe a consistent decline while you're figuring that out, but almost still have faith that it's eventually going to come right. And if you're not a patient individual or you want to see results now, then you won't give yourself enough time to almost bear the fruits of that work. Because I think for a lot of traders, it's really just a time thing. You find they probably, if 90% of them that gave up or didn't take it seriously, just gave it a bit more time and just persisted and were a bit more patient with the process, then they'd probably yield the results that they wanted to, just at a much later stage. So yeah, I think that's, I hope I've answered the question. I'll be honest, it was a difficult one, and I was trying to get Marcy to tell me what the question was before. I think intuitively I knew that, no, this question's going to have hands, but I think, being a patient individual is one of the most important criteria within the trading space. And I think you have to sort of exhibit patience in a lot of different ways, from strategy to results to just the individual trades, waiting for a trade to come to you, once it's come to you, waiting for your entry criteria to play out. So trading is a patient game. And yeah, if you struggle with that, if you struggle with the instant gratification, then maybe think twice before you jump into it, or buckle up and get ready to unlearn and relearn, because it's going to test you. Once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's installment of the Modern Day Trader channel. I'm Sam, Marcy with me, obviously, as always. And again, don't forget to like this video if you got any value out of it. We're obviously learning the ropes. We're trying to the best value to you guys, and would appreciate your support. And just to drop that like, subscribe, and again, comment down below any pair you want us to break down, any question that you want us to sort of dive into. That is literally why we're here. So I hope you guys have a profitable week, or are having a profitable week if you're listening to this during the week. And don't forget, guys, consistency is a choice you decide to make when you stop focusing on the outcome of each trade and start doing the work day in, day out. See you guys soon.